Hello, everyone, and welcome to our fifth workshop in our spring workshop series. Today, we'll be looking at transitioning from SPSS to R. We are the Center for Customer Insights and Digital Marketing, a center here under the College of Business Administration at Cal Poly Pomona. All right, so let's dive into it. So here's the table of contents on what we will cover today. So we will just go through that. So go for a greeting and some introductions. So first off, I am Jared Griffin. I am a master's student in digital marketing, and I will be your moderator today. I also work at the Center for Customer Insights and Digital Marketing as a graduate fellow. Next, we have Dr. Jaemin Jung, our presenter for the day. He is a professor of marketing at the College of Business Administration and is also the director of the center and the master's program in digital marketing as well. Dr. Jung, did you want to give yourself an introduction, or I kind of...
Oh, the good. I'm good, and thanks for the introduction.
All right, so just a quick announcement. This workshop will be recorded and will be available on our YouTube account later. We currently have a bit of backlog that we need to get uploading. So if you want a kind of advanced or raw copy of the recording, just go ahead and message or email us, and we can just send you a kind of unpolished version of it. The workshop slide materials are available at this link, and you are able to view these slides along with me at this link here. I will go ahead and paste that in the chat if anybody wants to see these slides. Get that out of there. All right, and then any questions you might have, if you could please kind of type them in the chat as we're going along, and then we will take a look. I'll take a look as we are going through the workshop, and then Dr. Jung can kind of answer them at the end. So overall agenda is going to be our greetings, which we're doing now, that announcement I just said. I'll talk about the learning outcomes and our agenda next. Dr. Jung will provide us with an overview where we talk about RStudio, Quarto, some key advantages of R over SPSS. We will also be introduced to case 31, which is our kind of working material for this workshop. Next, we'll go ahead and, or Dr. Jung will go ahead and cover the data preparation. Next is going to be hypothesis testing. And finally, we can wrap it up with a Q&A. So here are our expected learning outcomes. So after taking this, we would like you guys to be able to explain the data and cleaning and preparation process, explain the benefits of using R for teaching and for reproducible research, perform exploratory data analysis, or EDA, examine psychometric properties of multi-scales or multi-item scales. Next, we want to be able to create a composite scale and index. Then we want you to be able to explain how to recode and change labels for variables and different levels. After all of that, we want to be able to kind of save this clean data back into a SPSS recognizable format for easy importing. And then we want to be able to describe what data analysis we did and kind of create a report in Quarto. So we'll describe how to do that. Then we can generate some descriptive stats and visualize our data. And then we can perform our kind of typical hypothesis test, like t-tests, ANOVAs, multiple regressions, things of that nature. All right, I will go ahead and relinquish my screen over to Dr. Jung. We'll give you an overview of Quarto, R, and RStudio.
Thank you, Jared. Let me share my screen. Okay. So I'll start with overview. Since this workshop is designed to give the audience the overall the process of data analysis using R. We wouldn't be able to go into too much details. So for just in case, if the audience is not familiar with R or RStudio and Quarto, now the R, you can download R by going to just, type R, and then here you can go to rproject.org where you can download. You can go to a CLAN, and there are many websites where you can download, and usually you want to go to one of those sites reside in the US. And so once you click, say you went to this site and can download, depending on your system. If you are using Windows, you download it here. If you're using Mac system, then you can go there to download. RStudio. Now, RStudio is a so-called IDE. It is like VS Code, or VS Code is popular for many. It's a platform where you can code using any code for any type of languages, including R. But most people who use R, they like RStudio. So you can go to here, RStudio, download. Here's an RStudio desktop. That's the first one shows up. And it even tell you that in case you haven't installed R, you need to install R first. Then, and after that, then you can install the RStudio, and there are some options depending on your system, and Windows and Macs, that's what most people use. So once you install that, Quarto, you don't need to, if you are installing RStudio, you don't need to install Quarto separately. Quarto will be coming with RStudio. But if you are using different IDEs, such as the Jupyter Notebook, for those who are using Python, right, you can still use Quarto. If you're using different languages like Julia, you can also use Quarto because the Quarto can be installed independently of RStudio. So if you want to install separately, you can go to Quarto, and then here's a download Quarto. And I found that RStudio users can also download Quarto and install separately. Quarto's update tend to be a little bit faster than the RStudio itself. So you may be able to use the up-to-date version before it is released and available for automatic download and installation when you are ready to download and use new version of RStudio. All right. Now, if you, I want to also point out a resource at the center. So if you type Center for Customer Insights and Digital Marketing, then you will go And then you can go to resources and CCIDM Virtual Workshop. We have all previous workshop videos available, including here's a RStudio, R and RStudio installation, and then you can follow this video as well. All right. Here, let's see that, okay. So, so let me show you briefly how, okay, here's a brief introduction to R and RStudio and Quarto. So I said the Quarto can be installed independently, and it works with any type of IDE or any type of languages. So now Quarto is more than that. Quarto is a markdown file, and I'll use Quarto for the entire presentation, so you'll get to see the power of Quarto pretty soon. And so I have been the user of SPSS for a long time. I used SPSS in my PhD program. So over 20 years, I've been using it. And I started using, when I was in my PhD program, R was not available. R was invented, 1993, around the time. But it took time for it to be disseminated. It was introduced as a statistical software, and was used by statistics professors to do those, for their teaching and research. And then it was slowly spread across different disciplines. And it was finally, I feel that it came to the business world around 2010, when the buzzword of business world was, data science, big data and data science, right? And about that time, there was a hero in the R community, the Hadley Wickham. I think he's from New Zealand. He invented a tidyverse. Right, he started with a ggplot2, and then he invented a tidyverse way of coding, which uses a so-called pipe operator. So the pipe operator allows the coders to code, as the thought process goes from the top to bottom, and it was very like a water dropping from the top to bottom. And it made coding much easier and enjoyable than what was originally conceived, which we call base R way of coding. And then it was about 2015. That's when I first learned about R, and then I started using R, and I learned slowly, but as we all have the same issues, we are constrained by the time. We got to have other jobs, and I'm using there's a SPSS. Why should we learn a coding with R? So it was not until when I had my first project that I learned, really how the power of R and the coding itself deeply immersed myself in in coding. So then I tried to put myself into this project more and more, and eventually created the class and started teaching, and that forced me to use it like more often. And so now I'm comfortable using R, and I completely transitioned from SPSS to R, and I don't use SPSS anymore. So what's the big difference between the two? Here, SPSS is easy to learn, but it's not free. You have to pay every year unless your institution have institution-wide the license and you are covered. And as faculty and students, SPSS is free at Cal Poly Pomona under institutional license. And we have to renew every year. It's easy to learn, that's a strength. But it's also, since it's a proprietary software, the number of people who are employed, who are in development is small. And it is, on the other hand, R is open source and anyone can contribute, right? So the expert in any field, they can push the envelope and create new new software, and then they call it packages, and they submit it to our committee, and they look at it and they accept it, and then they can be added to the R, and the people can use it. So the innovation that happening in the field can instantly update it, and the researchers in that area can use it, and it can spread to any other areas. And there's no way that proprietary software that are developed by only a handful of people can match the speed and the depth of the development. Now the most dramatic, I think, the benefit of using R is the reproducibility. When we use SPSS and do the data preparation and analysis, and then getting an output, and and then creating a manuscript, there are a lot of copy and paste we do. We use the menu in SPSS to analyze to run an analysis, okay? And that's not recorded anywhere. And if someone wants to replicate that, they'd have to just guess what they had to use. Even the same person, if I want to do it a year later, I wouldn't be able to do exactly the same way that I did. I have to rely on just what I think I would have used. Now the output created is not the publication ready material. The charts that are created, you can copy and paste into other softwares like R, I mean the Word, because the quality of chart or tables is not the professional. So what people normally do, they would they have to create the chart or table in a better tool like Excel. And that's what I did in the past, create a chart in Excel, and then I copied it, pasted it into my R, the Word document. So there's a lot of copy and paste, which makes reproducibility almost impossible. Okay, so on the other hand, with R, although the learning curve is high, but you get this script and you can run the script and you get exactly the same result, no matter how many years later you run this. And if you want to share it with someone, you can just send it, and they can normally, you don't even have to send your file. You load up the file in GitHub, either publicly, you can make it publicly, and you're probably not going to be comfortable making it public when it is not published. So then you can work with your collaborator as a private the GitHub repo, and then they can just clone it, and they download everything, and they can run exactly what you have, and they can add it, they can modify the code, they can contribute, and you can also pull that and synchronize between your local drive and GitHub. So the collaboration is quite much better. And when I collaborate with my co-authors using SPSS, there's no way you can do it. So usually just one person does all the analysis. But with R, the collaboration among co-authors is much better. So that's so I'm going to use what I call case 31 throughout this demonstration. Now, case 31 came from one of the marketing research textbook that I adopted a long time ago. And I don't remember where I got this. Now, so I provided 3 links here. My GitHub repo will have here. I'm going to share it. So when you click that, let me click here. You will come to my GitHub. GitHub is a most popular platform for collaboration and publication. So most people, there are, a lot of people use GitHub, not just R, but any software, the Python users or any code-based coding software users, they tend to use GitHub for collaboration. So here you'll see all the files that I uploaded that are here in my, RStudio, and this is my RStudio, and you can see the files in my local drive, and that's going to be matching with the files that I uploaded. I uploaded using so-called Git. If it doesn't show anything, that means there is no differences between the cloud and my local drive. When there are differences, it'll show those. And then I have an option to, here's a, like the pull or the push later. All right. So very brief explanation for R and RStudio and the Quarto. You'll never directly you downloaded R, but you never initiate R program itself because R program is not user-friendly. So you are going to use IDE such as RStudio. And within RStudio, you have a lot of options of different files. You have RScript file, which is the first kind of a more bare minimum type of the file that assists with coding, RScript. And then there is the R Markdown. And R Markdown allows you to weave prose and code together. And then there is a Quarto document, and Quarto document is the latest next generation of a Markdown. And with this, you can do everything that you used to do with R Markdown, but Quarto document combine not only R Markdown, but a lot of other packages that work together with R as a ecosystem, so that you don't have to install separately those different components. Everything, such as you can create HTML report, you can create a PDF file, you can create Word document, you can create PowerPoint presentations, you can create website, you can publish books and blogs, everything with a Quarto document. So what you see here is Quarto document. It's ndd.qmd. And here, the Quarto document, just like R Markdown, has three components. The first is so-called YAML header. It dictates the format and overall structure and of your document, and it has instructions for how it should be printed out, how it should be, it dictates the output format. Okay. And then within Quarto, you have these two interfaces, source interface and the visual mode. And sometimes the visual mode is, it makes it easier to see things. It shows the first label heading, second label heading as you intended, even before you publish it. And once you publish, it would look like that document. So this visual mode is quite similar to this rendered version of the report, except that it doesn't have output, right? It has code, but output. In order to get an output, you need to just press render button, then it will create this report, which you can view inside RStudio, or you can click this button, show it in new window, and it's going to show up in your browser, and you can decide whether you want to publish it. So here you can see that I have published. You can get your free website in a multiple different place, and this is my website on Quarto. You can see this is my user ID. When I requested my account, and this is my user ID, and they put your user ID and .quarto.pub under there. I have, this is currently the publications I made that I use for teaching purposes. And one of them, I think I have two of them. This one, the data preparations for case 31, that's what I'm gonna use for this workshop. And then another one, presentation for case 31, okay? So the publishing here is quite simple. And yeah, the process is only once you have your code ready, all you need to do is go to here, terminal, and then you can just type Quarto publish like that. Quarto publish, then where to publish. And you can choose one of the many platforms, including GitHub that I showed you. But the easiest one that I found was a Quarto pub. So Quarto pub, and then you, and then inside this double quotation, you can type the file name, right? This file name, and I would go to my instead of typing and making an error, typo error, I would go to my Windows Explorer and then copy the file name and then just paste it here, and then that's all you need, right? And then when you enter, then it goes through the process, and you follow the screen to do that. All right. So let's see. All right. So here, I'm going to share this one, the case 31, and no, that's not that. Let's see. Data preparation for case 31. All right. So I will share that with you. Okay, so chat. So on the chat, you see the URL, and let me also share the presentation slide for hypothesis test. Hello. For some reason, it's taking time. So let me, oh, yeah, now it moved. Okay. So this is here. All right, so now I give you all three places, files, and then presentation, I mean the HTML, the report for data preparation, right? Okay, so I have now spent some time for data preparation, and then okay, and then the next one is data analysis. Okay, so first data preparation, and this is a general the workflow, in working. At least this is how I do in my in my RStudio. So I import SPSS in RStudio and then run exploratory data analysis. And the goal is to understand what the data look like. And then, depending on my understanding of the data, I decide what to do next. And usually, should I modify the data? Should I transform data? Do I need to tidy the data? So that decision is made during this process. That process normally also include descriptive statistics, right? So frequencies for categorical data. If you are dealing with continuous data, also you can, the frequency distribution using a histogram, for instance, and is it normally distributed or not, right? And since the people who use SPSS data, SPSS, they tend to collect data from human beings. So that's a survey. Survey design is what they use. And therefore, a lot of the time, it is about people's attitude, intentions, and beliefs, and that are measured on some sort of like a type scale. And, and so for that, even if that's considered a continuous variable for the purpose of statistics, strictly speaking, that's kind of a categorical. So most of the time, you can run the descriptive analysis using the count, the number of the counts, what the percentages for different categories. Code that's counts and then create a percentages by doing that. And yeah, and then we also tend to use multi-item scale to measure certain certain concept or construct, right? So if you are measuring attitude toward brands, right, then we tend to use multiple items, right? The brand is good or bad, positive, negative, useful, useless, those type of multi-item scales. And we normally go through, is this reliable? Does it measure the same dimension, so-called unidimensionality? And we use the PCA to do the basic exploratory factor analysis. And if it's reliable, and then there's a unidimensionality evidence you can get. You may want to create a composite scale, so-called index, if you want to run a regression analysis so that you don't have to deal with each individual item. And of course, if you might also further do confirmatory factor analysis. Now, R has a so-called a LAVAN package to deal with structural equation modeling, to do the confirmatory factor analysis, and you look at the measurement model, and then you run the structural, assess the structural, the path analysis later, and that's a kind of a totally different topic, and that's actually the workshop, the sixth workshop, in about 2 weeks. So we are not going to deal with it, but here just very basic exploratory data analysis for those for those people who want to basically create a composite scale that you want to use for regression analysis. And then once you prepare your data, you can save it, you clean the data back to SPSS data. So the next time you want to read this cleaned data, right? So here, let me explain. Yeah. Right. This is the outline, and you can see this outline is, it helps you navigate, and the first level and second level, so it is hierarchically structured, so you can easily maneuver and find. Another way of navigating is by going through this, and this also allows, it provides a little bit more gradual control. So not only that first and second and third level heading that you specified, but also code chunk within each of the section is available. And now it's like code chunk and name, you may name it, will appear here. All right. So I'm not going to go into detail for how to set up YAML, and there's we have a workshop that we already covered it. So if you want to get a hold of that workshop video, just let us know. We can share with it. But also when our the video is ready, we could also post on our website. Okay, so there are 3 components in Quarto file. Now, if you are completely new to Quarto, you can start the work process is that you normally go to here, create a new project. Okay. And then it's going to ask you, save it because you don't want to lose anything. So you want to save. And then it's going to tell you, okay, how you want to create a project. You want to create a in a new directory or existing directory in your local hard drive, or do you want to create by cloning GitHub? This is how you can clone GitHub by going through. So let's say you need a directory, and you click here, project, and this is the most popular one, right? You can also create a shiny, interactive, the dashboard app, and you can create a website, you can create a blog, and book, and there are even manuscript, and so here, let's say you create a project like this, and then it allows you to browse your website and decide the desirable, the the desirable directory, and then you open that directory. I'm going to click out, right? And then you can even here create a subdirectory for this project within that directory. You type the name, and then you click create a project. Okay, so I will just click cancel out of this because I've already done that. All right. After you create your project, you will see here automatically a demo.r project file will be created, and that here demo.r project file is already original automatically created. And let's say you exited RStudio, and next time when you open that your project, that's what you want to double click. Okay, within your whatever the web browser. Okay, that's what you want to. Okay, here, and you want to double click this one. Although here's a QMD file, which is the code book. You don't want to click code book because once you click R project file, the entire workspace is loaded up the way that you saved it. And then from there, you can open up your existing QMD file. Okay, now if you have never done that, you can click and create a QMD file, and you can title it, you can put your name, and then create. Then a file will be created, a very basic file will be created, and then you can modify from there. All right, so that process and that workflow is explained in detail in our previous workshop. So I would encourage you to look at it if you need help on that. All right, so there are three areas, YAML header, and then the rest of them is blank from the beginning, and this is all that I typed. Okay, you can start typing using visual mode or source mode, and again, this illustration and the hands-on the demonstration is available in our previous workshop, so we wouldn't go into that route. All right. Now, so basically the entire thing, including these, were all typed. Now, this is a first level heading, so you'll see the library that shows up there. And the second level heading, you put these two hashtags. We call this a text area, and everything below this 3 dash, everything after YAML header. So YAML header has to be on the top. it cannot be added later. Okay, it has to be the first one. Okay, so after that, the rest of them, you can consider the rest of them is text area, unless you add so-called code chunk. Okay, so there are three areas: YAML header, text area, and code chunk. Okay, so here I'm weaving my text and code together. Okay, so here first I know that this is the one that I'm most likely to use. So without knowing exactly what I'm going to be using, these are the typical packages out of tens of thousands of packages. There are only a dozen packages that you need to use frequently for your needs. And once you identify them, you are likely to use them all. So don't have to worry about tens of thousands of packages, which is more like a different program. And you don't need to know them. You don't need to load them here. So, all right, so I run them here. And then this is how I'm going to read the data. SPSS data. If you're a user of SPSS, you know that there are three types of data: .sav, .spss, which is a code book for SPSS, and then a output.spv. But here you only need the data, so .sav. You need to put that in your same drive. Or now you could create a subfolder called data and then put your data inside that folder. In that case, you just need to indicate like that. So the data is in that subdirectory. Okay. So you are going to read it. So here's a data. Then you see the data has read and shows up in your environment. Right? I normally use this clean data because if you look at the data looks like this. And now this data, it has 128 by 34. This means that we have 128 rows of participants, one row per person, and 34 variables. Okay, and each column represents each variable. Question 34, but it said double plus label. So this is so-called labeled data. So it has not only the numbers, but also a label associated with that number. But you can see the label was partially available. Only 5 and 1 was available, and 2, 3, 4 was not available. So there's some work you need to modify. You want to add them all, especially if you want to draw a chart and you want to show labels for all the value, because otherwise people wouldn't understand what each of these number means. So this labeled data is a metadata saved that comes with SPSS or SAS or Stata. The data that imported from those software are called labeled data because the labels are available. And Excel or CSV file, on the other hand, it doesn't have that rich data. So here, I normally clean the data and save. Okay? And then you go through here the process of cleaning the data. So here I provide the label so that here's a 5-point like type label that I want to set, because I know question 3 doesn't have the label for all. So you add those labels, and then you want to confirm that the label that you added is now show up. Now it show up. Here's a 1 and 2 doesn't show up because no one answered 1 and 2 here. So you do that for process for each of these variables. Here's a cleaning process go through. You can also do reliability here. So you just select question 3 through 6 is a construct for, let me show you here, build df, here data clean, and now this is a data dictionary that I normally use this data dictionary to see, to get the information about data. And then here's a question 3, employees are courteous. 4, employees are helpful, employees are professional, employees are available. So those are the 4 items, multi-item scale for a construct called employee proficiency, and it's measured on 1 to 5-point scale. Okay, so you may want to do the reliability, and here you can select them and run alpha reliability from psych package to get this reliability, and alpha reliability here is 0.87, which is greater than cutoff point of 0.7. So you feel great about it. And then you look at here reliability if one of the items are dropped, and by dropping any of them, you cannot improve reliability above 0.87. SPSS normally produce as well. And then now that you reliability is good, in fact, you may hear to confirm unidimensionality as well. So here you select those 4 items and then run a factor analysis and indicate that you want a 1 factor and then rotation none. And here is that the factor loadings, they're all very high, above 0.7. And the proportion, there's a proportion of variance represented, accounted for by those 4 items are 63%, pretty high. So if it is greater than 0.5, that's pretty good indication that these 4 items measure the same construct. All right. So So you feel good about the unidimensionality, and you can also run, here's the factor here, FA factor analysis, another function. Okay, and then you can also feed that outcome. Now, if you run this, it look like this. But if you feed that information into FA diagram, then you get this here factor diagram as well. So it shows factor loadings like that. Here's a principal component analysis. Here's a PR component. And you can look at the summary of that. So here, there are the principal component. Here's the firstly, the increase, the marginally improved, but the first one is predominant one. You can draw a screen plot as well, so-called ANOVA method. This is what the SPSS similar, the screen plot is produced by SPSS as well. So you can see that how many components, how many factors are there whose elegant values are greater than 1, and there is only one factor. So there's a huge drop, and then from there, gradual, slow decrement after that. So that also support one factor. All right. And then you feel great about the reliability and unidimensionality, and then you can combine it so that you can produce index. So here, by using raw means, you are adding them up. So raw, adding them and divided by the number of items. So that's a raw means will do. And then you are adding that attitude toward employee proficiency as a new variable. So this new variable was added. And then now you can produce a descriptive statistics for that. Here's the mean of that, standard deviation, median, minimum, maximum. Here's a kurtosis, and here's a skewness. And so you continuously do this, and then you will want to, here's recode. In this case, I'm recoding it because here the one originally was very high, was 1, but I want very high to be 5, right? To be consistent with the magnitude. So you're reversing it by using like that. And so you go through all them. And then eventually, I'm going to here, once you are happy, then here you are going to save it back to this new file, and I called it prepped data. So prep.sav, and then I'm not going to do it because I skipped many things. I already have the data here as a prep data. So that's what I'm going to use in my next step. So once the preparation is done, we'll move on to here, data analysis and result. And now you're going to read this prepped data and then you'll write a report while doing the analysis. And then you'll run, whatever the hypothesis test that you need to do, and then you generate insights. Okay, so I have opened up that if I run this presentation for case 31, if I press render button, I'll have this HTML file produced. Okay, so let me here. Oops. All right. So here's a table of contents, and let's say I added my analysis and hypothesis test right to this presentation slide. So yes, I presented slide. I did that, and it was produced last fall, while I was teaching a market research class, and I created this to give a resource for my students to use for their preparation for presentation. So the structure of this is look like a typical 5-chapter structure of research presentation, starting with the introduction, and then then literature review, and then chapter 3, data analysis, chapter 4, the result, analysis and result. Chapter 3 is method. So I followed that. So you see here, these are the basics that I got from that case. The case that I introduced, case 31, has about like 3-page of background information going through, introduction, why they need a research. It is for a organization called Employees Federal Union. And so it talks about the problem it has and what research objective was. So they need to determine why the members are not borrowing money from the credit unions. And so they want to determine what the members' attitudes were toward the overall management and operations. So it's very important so that they can fix the problem. And the background information is only what's available in the case. So that's basically they are blank. And there are here H1, research question. Why do people join credit unions? So understanding that is one of the first steps. Number 2, why do members use other financial institutions when they need to borrow fund? And number 3, what are the members' attitudes and beliefs about the proficiency of credit union employees? So credit union members' attitude somehow influence why people are not borrowing money from the credit union. So that was one of the things. And are there any perceived differences between the members who live in headquarter area and non-headquarter area? So there were many, 6 research questions and several research hypotheses. And so here, here's such method. So here they use the mail survey, and so they used the literally mail survey, the offline mail survey. So they chose samples from in fact, they mailed to all, it's like all sampling frame was over 3,000 members. And they selected 300 people out of those, randomly selected, and data collection, coding, process, data preparation. Now we are using here RStudio for wrangling and visualization. And those, talking about the process of cleaning the data that as we went through. And here's what the data look like. And this is what directly the result of the data dictionary that I showed you previously. And then here's sample characteristics. And number like this, you will, let's see. Now this one is directly piped into data. I didn't type this, so that's the, if I type, then I may make mistake. So this directly piped to the data, and using functions generate the number of people. Okay, so let me show you how I did. Let's see, like that. I'm going to navigate. Here, measure sample characteristics. All right. So you can see number of participants. I said here, this is so-called inline coding. It said n row, number of rows of the case 31 data set. So you actually read the number of cases in the data. So here's that. Similarly, the percent of participants who live in headquarter area versus non-headquarter area is the percent, like 44 versus 55%. That is also here piped into the data directly, so that if the data changes, this number, these statistics will automatically change. Okay. And then here's the measures. You can see here's some measures, and I said refer to. And then here's the data analysis and result. Here's the one sample test. Here's the descriptive. I'm going to show you here like this. And maybe, hold on for a second. I will use the F11. So using F11, you can toggle like here, the minimize, the regular and maximize the full screen mode. And here you can present the frequency distribution of response frequency for savings rate. And here's also other descriptive statistics like this. You can present this, and you can have a chart, a bar plot that shows the frequency of members' opinion on savings rate. So the majority of people say that the savings rate that they provide by their bank is about averages here. And so the midpoint is 3. So you can also do a one sample test. This is very basic, but for illustration purpose at entry level stat class, you can say, we show this. And then here's a t-test. with the mu, the population mean is 3, and you are using that data with the question 7R. Here's one sample test result. P-value is larger than 0.05, so you fail to reject the null. So people's opinion of the population mean there's not enough evidence to reject the null hypothesis that the population mean is about the average mean. So, and then you can also add the insights from the data in a summary form like this, and then you can go on and on. Here's a research question 3 is also one sample test. So in this case, also people's employee proficiency. Now this is something here, the same multi-item scale for which we created previously a index, and the mean you can indicate here is the mean is 4.21 on 1 to 5 point scale. So we can see that is a larger than 3, which is the midpoint and neutral point. So you can see, yeah, the attitude is very positive. So you can visually see this, and we can show the reliability and factor analysis as we went through before. And here's one sample test. And then here is the summary of that. And you can do for H4, you are doing 2 sample tests. And you can go on and on like this. Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to stop here and then open up for let me see any questions that you may have.